Have you ever stood alone on a platform at midnight and heard a train that never arrives? In Australia, there are stations thought to have been long forgotten, but if you stay quiet enough, you'll hear something still lingering there, or perhaps never left. 1. Redfern Station, New South Wales. The third step that never dries. Locals in Sydney call it the last stop for those who never leave. Redfern is bustling by day, but after midnight, the sounds at Platform 3 don't resemble trains at all. There's a rumor of a woman in a green coat who jumped from this very platform during the winter of 1986. No one remembers her name, but since that day, the step where she stood has never dried. Not even during the scorching sun. No leaking pipes, no rainfall. Yet the stone remains damp, cold enough to form dew, like fine needles. Security once tried to mop the step overnight. The cleaning machine stopped exactly on that spot. One guard claimed that when he bent down, a hand pressed gently on his shoulder, cold as stone. But no one was there. CCTV once recorded a figure gliding along the platform, faceless, soundless, moving against the wind. No feet, just fog. A man named Tariq once waited for the last train at Platform 3, around 1:40 a.m. He said he heard a whisper in his left ear, "Don't let it see you." When he turned, he only saw his own reflection in the train window, but the face didn't blink when he did. 2. Peterborough Station, South Australia. The departure call from a year that doesn't exist. Peterborough Station hasn't been operational for years, but once a month, on the 12th, at exactly 2:37 a.m., the PA system turns on. There's no power, no staff, no working speakers. Yet the townsfolk hear it clearly. The train to Winton will depart at 2:45 a.m. Passengers, please proceed to the platform. Winton lies over 1,200 kilometers away, and its rail service ceased in the 1950s. A group of university students once recorded the broadcast. On playback, a muttered voice bled through. "He's still here. We never left." An elderly man named Clive, once a station worker, now in aged care, still insists on dressing in uniform to work the night shift on that date. When asked why, he simply replied, "I took their tickets. Now I must send them off." 3. Cannington Freight Terminal, Western Australia. The Unclaimed Luggage. Cannington's freight terminal hasn't been used for cargo in years. And yet, wagons sometimes slide forward on locked rails. Security footage has captured a rail car slowly drifting ahead and stopping precisely at the spot where an old suitcase appears. Every time, it's the same kind. Brown leather, frayed edges, no tags. The first time they opened it, it was empty. But warehouse workers said the air smelled of ash, moisture, and something cold, like the inside of a crypt. Then the suitcase vanished. No one saw anyone remove it. 2 weeks later, another identical suitcase appeared in the same place. This time, the camera caught the moment. At midnight, from an empty rail car, a hunched figure stepped down, silently placed the suitcase on the ground, then turned toward the camera. It had no face, only a hollow black membrane stretched like skin over air. They burned that suitcase. 3 days later, another one appeared inside a different rail car. 3 stations, 3 stories. No one boards trains there anymore. But something is still waiting, not for the train, for the living to step in. Imagine, you're standing alone on an abandoned platform. No trains are scheduled, no lights. Then the speakers crackle and call your name. Would you step forward, or would you turn and run? Part 2 will take you to stations not only forgotten, but ones that trap the memories of those who once passed through them. If you've ever dreamed of boarding a train to nowhere, the next chapter might explain. Why did you never wake up? 4. Paranella Station, Queensland. The girl on the far end of the bench. The small town of Paranella is veiled in mist year-round, a place where time seems stuck in the 1940s. The abandoned station is little more than a frame of rotting timber and a moss-covered stone bench. But one patch, the far right corner, never grows moss. Why? Each morning, before sunrise, passers-by along the old path report seeing a girl in a red dress, her wide-brimmed hat tilted to cover half her face, sitting quietly, gazing toward the overgrown tracks. She never looks back. She never leaves. A mailman once approached her, thinking she was lost. But within a few steps, she was gone. Only the faint scent of rosewater lingered, and a silver coin left neatly on the bench. The coin? Minted in 1928. An amateur ghost hunter once hid a camera nearby. It captured a blurred figure, loose hair, head gently tilted, eyes with no pupils. That ghost hunter disappeared 2 weeks later. His camera was found, resting right where the girl always sits. 5. Spencer Street Station, Victoria. Door number 4 never locks. Spencer Street Station in Melbourne is always packed during peak hours. But down in the old basement, once a waiting area in the 1930s, there's a black-painted door marked number 4 that no one can keep locked. Maintenance crews have tried replacing the lock, welding the hinges shut. Nothing works. It always opens around 3:00 a.m. A security guard named Daniel was once sent to investigate after motion sensors reported irregular movement. He recalled, "I was standing in front of door 4, and I heard murmuring from inside, but it didn't sound like a person. It was like an entire train car whispering at once, overlapping voices repeating the same line. End of the line, end of the line, end of the line." He opened the door. Inside, nothing. No lights, no corridor. Just a dust-covered room with a single rusted sign. Train number 144. Cancelled. 14/08/1944. Since then, once a month, on the 13th night, the sensor triggers again. Always for exactly 144 seconds. 6. Goulburn Station, New South Wales. Footsteps that don't head toward the train. Goulburn Station has been preserved as part of Australian rail history, but no one can explain why the security cameras frequently capture footprints appearing on the concrete floor, always walking away from the tracks. No trains arrive. No one steps off. And yet, there are footprints. A German tourist named Lena joined a ghost tour of the station at night. As she passed the old platform, she felt someone walking beside her. I turned and saw my own reflection in the window of an old train car. But the figure next to me, that wasn't me. It was fainter, but definitely watching me. Lena fainted. Her camera fell and continued recording. In the 3-minute clip, distant footsteps echo, fading into silence. Then came a child's voice, repeating over and over, "I didn't get on. I didn't get on." We like to think of train stations as places of beginnings and endings, but in these places, the end never comes, and those who once waited are still waiting. Have you ever heard a train whistle in your dreams, even though it's been years since you last rode the rails? Perhaps at some point, your mind stopped at a station, one where you never actually boarded. Part 3 will take you deeper into stations that have been entirely erased. gone from maps, forgotten in history. And yet, every year, someone finds their way in. Not all of them find their way out. 7. Wittenoom Station, Western Australia. Rails that tremble without trains. Wittenoom was officially erased from Australia's maps in 2007 due to deadly asbestos contamination. But there's something the news didn't report. On one specific day each year, the exact date the town was struck from existence, the rails at Wittenoom Station still shake. No one dares get close. But a few remaining locals say they hear it. A train, heavy, ancient, howling as if coming from another world, passing through in the dead of night. A journalist once snuck into the town to film it. In his final transmission, he stood on the crumbling platform, recording the steel track. Then the camera shook violently. Over the screeching noise, he whispered, I'm not alone. I can feel someone standing behind me." The feed was cut off. He was never seen again. And since then, each year, the rails tremble 1 minute longer than the year before. 8. Maldon Station, Victoria. The ticket with no destination. A picturesque heritage station, now a museum. But every morning, when staff open the ticket counter for cleaning, they find a freshly printed ticket already sitting on the desk. No one printed it. It reads, "Destination, unknown, seat, 0, departure time, 03:33. The technician shut down the entire printer system. The ticket still appeared. One night, he stayed behind. Security footage shows, at exactly 3:33 a.m., nothing moved, but paper slid out of the machine, without power. He later recalled hearing faint bell chimes, the echo of footsteps along the hall. And then, on the screen, a line of handwritten text appeared on the final ticket. "This time, you don't get off." 9. Clare Station, South Australia. The man standing on the engine. Clare Station has been abandoned since 1976. No train has passed through since. But in 2003, a group of traveling photographers captured the overgrown train cars, blanketed in weeds. In one photo, a man stands atop the front engine, black coat, arms at his sides, staring directly at the camera. The problem? None of them saw him when they took the shot. The image went viral in paranormal circles. An expert in infrared photography analyzed it and pointed out, the light on his face didn't match the surrounding shadows, as if the face wasn't there at the same time as the rest of the world. Each year, curious visitors still return to Clare. All of them report the same. Their batteries drain rapidly. Cameras freeze when aimed at that exact train car. And a feeling of someone watching from above, still, unblinking. 10. Hornsby Maintenance Sidings, New South Wales. Knocks beneath the tracks. At Hornsby's rail maintenance yard, since 1999, there's been a particular location, the 13th joint in the tracks. At around 2 a.m., the night watchmen often hear it, knock, knock, knock from below the rail. Thomas, who worked the graveyard shift for 12 years, said, "At first, I thought it was loose fittings or rats, but I knocked back 3 times, and it knocked 3 times. I tried 4. It answered 4. The one time I didn't knock back, it knocked 7 times. Then silence. That morning, I dreamt I woke up beneath the tracks, with a train barreling toward me. An engineer once attempted to dig under that section. Beneath the old cement, he uncovered a green rusted iron door. No one knew where it led. When they cracked it open, a burst of cold air blew out, reeking of blood and scorched metal. The engineer panicked, quit his job the following week, and vanished. No one's heard from him since. Some stations no longer have trains, not because time stopped, but because the journey changed course. You might board the train, but never know where it's headed. You might stand and watch, and feel as if you're the one being watched. 10 stations, 10 places no longer part of the present. Somewhere, time still waits. Somewhere, the whistle still blows. But no one is driving it anymore. Who do you think still sits on the platform at midnight? Would you dare step aboard a train with no destination? Tell us your most chilling train story in the comments. And remember, if you ever hear your name over the speaker, don't answer it.